Welcome to the Mom Money to Moment podcast. We're your hosts, Chrissy
and Cindy,
co-founders of Her Health Collective.
We are two moms obsessed with revolutionizing the way moms take care of themselves. We are so glad you're here. Let's dive in.
Shelly Young is one of the most approachable finance experts you will ever speak to. She's a certified financial and personal development coach, a homeschool mom of four, and a serial business owner, author, speaker, and co-owner of several restaurants with her husband in Columbia, South Carolina. As a homeschool mom, Shelly went searching for financial resources for kids and couldn't find many. So she created her own. Kids Finance Camp provides books, apps, resources for kids and teens to learn how to win with money. Shelly is the author of How to Start Investing as a Kid or Teen and many other finance books for kids, which you can find on Amazon or her website. Her new 6-book series on investing for younger kids will launch August 1st. Shelly believes that winning with money is a process that takes time, commitment, consistency, positive mindset around money, discipline, and education. One of the biggest challenges when educating students is a lack of financial knowledge. Kids Finance Camp believes that once kids have the proper financial foundation, they will be in a position to start building wealth from an early age. Last week, we discussed the importance of mindset when it comes to money, why personal finances aren't well taught in our school system, and what strategies you can start implementing today to teach your kids how to budget, save, invest, and develop their financial literacy. This week, in part 2 of our conversation, we are exploring how to knock out debt and find a financial system that works for you. The financial myths you need to debunk for your children, and how your feelings around money can influence your kids. This is such an important episode, and is one you will not want to miss.
How much do you notice the parents' feelings on money and their perspectives and emotions on money influence the kids?
Oh my word. So much, because I haven't always been this money saver investor. Chrissy, I was like you. I totally was like you. I was the spender. My husband was the saver. He came into our marriage with no debt. He was super good with money, always saved, always invested. And I was like, let's spend the money, honey. I was such a free spirit. For the early years of our marriage, I struggled with money. He would make the money, I would spend it. He would, do all the things. And I'm like, well, I want new shoes. I want new this and that. And so I do believe that early on, our kids did watch that, and they thought they were kind of, I wouldn't even say entitled, but they were like, well, let's buy this. But then, oh my goodness, when we started making those changes and leaning into less and being grateful for the things that we had, I adopted more of a minimalism mentality, not spending a ton of money and living on a budget and investing. At first, it was hard. Can I be honest? At first, it was so hard for them to say like, oh, we can't have that? We can't buy that? And I'm like, no. And this is why. And I explained and had those money conversations. After years of practice and seeing what we were doing, then they were able to say, oh, this makes sense. But it took a while. At first, they were like, I want to buy that toy. I want to go out to eat, because that's what we would do. That was the norm for them. But then when we made those changes and started making those changes, at first it was hard, but then they're like, oh, okay, this means that we'll be able to do this in the future.
Shelly, when you started to make those changes, how did you verbalize that to the kids? I'm picturing that you probably didn't say we can't afford it.
Right.
You said,
right.
What lingo? Because this all has to start with the parents. We have to shift.
Yes.
The relationships that we have with money and making sure that we grasp the concepts better. I know that I need to definitely get more financially literate with things in order to teach my kids, which thank you. I'm so glad you're there to help with that.
Absolutely. So what language did I use?
Yeah. So when you were telling them, no, we can no longer buy this, so we can't get this, how did you give that message to the kids?
So I adopted this phrase, we are leaning into less so that we can be able to give more. And so we were leaning into less when it came to, buying clothes and leaning into less when it came to food. And so like when I would grocery shop, Oh my goodness. My oldest had a very tough time because during the season of leaning into less, the snacks that she liked weren't on sale. And so I would not buy those snacks.
That's
and
what we do too.
Yeah. And so she'll say, but the boys and you're buying for them. But what about my snacks? What about my snacks? And I'm like, honey, they're not on sale. So, I can't get those right now. And so at first she was like so devastated, like, but what about? And I'm like, I'm so sorry, honey, but right now we are on a budget and we are really being grateful for the things that we have. It's only for a season. I will say that for us, we were in our debt payoff journey. And I think that you guys know that I got us into about $65,000 worth of debt. Initially $40,000. We paid that $40,000 off. And then because of me and my mindset, I went back into debt, $25,000 of credit card debt, $25,000 after we paid off $40,000. And so when you're talking about these mindset shifts and us taking kind of responsibility as parents to make those changes, I didn't do the work. When we paid off that $40,000, I knew how to pay it off. I knew how to be disciplined. I knew how to do that, right? But because I didn't make those internal changes, I went right back into debt. I went right back into that. And so I really, really needed to come to terms with, why am I spending money? Why am I feeling as if I need to, keep up with the Joneses or have this or buy that? And it was me, and just not feeling good enough as a mom and not feeling good enough as a wife. And I really needed to evaluate myself and say, like, why don't I feel good enough? I'm doing all of the things, but I didn't feel good enough. I had to kind of forgive myself for the mistakes that I made that were contributing to my mindset and the way that I was spending money and my relationship with money.
This is a really great segue into my question to you. You were talking about the mistakes that we make as parents and how we can inadvertently put those onto our children. So I just really would like to know throughout your program and when you are teaching these kids, it's wonderful because you do it to accommodate a wide variety of learning styles. I love that piece of it. You also talk a little bit about the myths that you strive to debunk when it comes to teaching children about money. So can you talk to us about one or two of the myths that you are trying to teach children that aren't real, that if your parents said this, then no, we're teaching you something else.
So I think one huge myth, one thing that I subscribe to is, so before we even see our paycheck, we give, save, invest. Before we even see our paycheck, a lot of times people are like, oh, I can't save or I can't invest because of XYZ. Even if it's like $5, even if it's a small amount, start saving, start investing now. If you can just do $5, say for instance, for 4 weeks, that's $20 in a month, right? For me, a lot of people are saying, I can't, Shelly. There are ways. There are ways you can save. There are ways you can invest, even if you have to consign children's clothes, even if you have to sell things around the house. You can save, you can invest, even if you don't have a lot of margin in your budget. And so that's one myth. A lot of people think like, oh, I can't do it. I don't have the money to. I'm living paycheck to paycheck. I can't do this. There are ways to do it because we were living paycheck to paycheck, and not because we weren't making the money, but because I was spending it all. I had to find a way to shift my mindset. Okay, so how can I save? How can I invest? How can I create margin in my budget so that we have space and wiggle room? And I think that that's a big myth, is I don't have the money. So that's one. And another thing I think that I try to debunk is that you have to be this financial expert and you have to have a ton of money to start investing and saving. You don't have to be a financial expert to start. You do not. You just have to be willing to commit. A lot of people think, well, I don't have the financial knowledge. I don't have the financial background. I'm not financially savvy. You don't have to be. You don't have to be. You just have to be willing to learn, willing to commit, and willing to just start. I would say
so great. Thank you.
I loved the story that you shared on your website. It's on the About page of the Kids Finance Camp. You share that your beliefs stem from your own experiences as a child and not knowing anything about money or financial literacy. You tell a story about going off to college at UNC Chapel Hill and someone asking if you wanted a free t-shirt. And then, of course, as a broke college student, you say that you said yes. And the next thing you knew, you had your first credit card. I remember those people with those tables around college campus. I remember. You go on to say that you didn't even know what a credit card was. You say, I definitely had never heard of a budget. What was credit? Why did I need it? I had no idea about anything finance related. After making so many financial mistakes early on, late payments, low credit scores, poor financial habits stemming from a lack of financial knowledge. And then later going on to pay off over $65,000 worth of debt and building your credit to almost 800, you've built a strong financial legacy for your children that you are looking to share with others. Now, I want to ask about how you reversed your personal financial situation. And I know that you already touched on some of this. You said making money. So I heard you mention consigning, hustling, and just finding a way to make money. Yeah. And then you also mentioned the period where you would lean into less. And that's essentially where we get the saving piece, right? Like you're finding ways to save and embrace minimalism. And you also talked about changing your mindset. So 3 huge, very important things. I guess I just want to parse this out a little bit more, this topic. Can you briefly share with us how you reversed your personal financial situation or anything you would add to how you made that happen?
Absolutely. So I did take Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University 3 times. 3 times, Chrissy, because I was an awful student. And if he listen, if he was teaching the class,
I think that makes you a good student. That's that growth mindset. You stuck with it. I don't know it yet.
I stuck with it. I absolutely stuck with it. But I think that if he was teaching my class in front of me, he would like kick me out. Like, you're here again. But I was so committed to learning how to pay off the debt. I adopted the cash only system that Dave Ramsey prescribes, is like cash only. You had your envelope system. And I think you guys are familiar with that. And so we did that for probably 2 years, at least 2 years of cash only spending. We did the debt snowball. So listing your lowest debt at the top, then listing the rest of them down below. So you basically list out all of your debts, starting with the lowest balance first, and then the next one, and so once you pay off that one, you take that, what you were paying on the lowest, and then you put it on the next one until all of your debts are paid. And that's how I paid off the $25,000 and even the $40,000 worth of debt that we did. The second debt payoff, I was just really focused on my why. My kids, I grew up from humble beginnings, single mom of 3, didn't have a lot of wiggle room when it came to finances. And so I wanted something different for my kids. And so for that $25,000, that last $25,000 that we paid off, I really, really focused on my why, which was my kids and my family, and really providing a strong financial future for them. And so for listeners today, I would absolutely, what is your why? Why do you want to build a strong financial future for you and your family? What is it? What's the reason? And then list out, what are the barriers? For me, it was my depression and my anxiety. And I went through, we moved to a new place. My husband was working a lot. And so I really, really struggled with my own depression and anxiety. And I had to go to therapy. So I went to therapy for a year and just really dove into, okay, what's going on inside of me? Because those were the contributing factors to me spending money. I felt like, oh, I need that dopamine. I need to spend money. It really made me feel good, right? Spending money makes you feel good. So really dive into, what is your why? What are the barriers to you building that strong financial future? And then you might need an accountability partner. My husband was my accountability partner, and he would not let me fall. He would not. I had to get really, really honest with him. So get an accountability partner that you can get honest with and really be real and vulnerable. Like, these are my personal struggles. These are the things, these are the areas that I really need to work on, and have that accountability partner hold you accountable for facilitating those goals.
As a certified financial and personal development coach, you obviously have a wealth of knowledge on how to create a financially secure home, healthy financial habits. We've seen it in our amazing conversation with you so far. Can you offer your top 3 tips or strategies on how a parent can develop strong financial habits themselves, in turn building a strong financial legacy for their children?
Oh, that's good. That's so good. Just three.
Just
Okay.
3, top 3.
Okay, awesome. So I think that finding a finance system that works for you and your lifestyle, that's huge because say, for instance, you're not an all cash spender, adopting a Dave Ramsey life may not work for you. You need to find a finance system that works for you and your lifestyle. If you do like all cash, finding programs that fit who you are. So for us, we did during our debt payoff, we did do Dave Ramsey. Now we aren't all cash spenders. So we don't really follow that now. Just finding a system that really, really works for you and your family. The second would be commit at least 3 months. You have to commit at least 3 months. If you do 2 weeks and you fail, you're like, oh, I quit. But a lot of times, even with our fitness journeys, we'll like do something for 2 weeks. Like, this isn't working. And we don't see the changes right away. We're like, I'm done. I quit. So really, really commit at least 3 months. Nothing changes overnight. So trust the process and allow the process to happen. And then the last thing that I would say is bring your kids along for the ride and have money conversations with them. That's so huge. As you are leaning into less or making these financial changes, really encourage your children to go on that journey with you and tell them why you're doing what you're doing. And that really makes it easier for them to understand and be supportive of the journey because you don't want them to be like, oh my goodness, why can't we spend money? Why can't we go out to eat? Really, really bring them on that financial journey with you.
Yeah, my kindergartner loves a good restaurant. She takes after her mama on that one.
Listen, I don't blame her.
Shelly, may I ask you, and feel free to say no, you said you're no longer doing the Dave Ramsey system. Do you mind sharing? Are you doing a different specific program?
The care that doulas provide is vital. During both of my birth experiences, the doula support I received was extremely helpful.
Doulas of Raleigh is a full-service doula agency. Their team of professional doulas supports families in the Triangle area throughout pregnancy, birth, and postpartum. They also provide placenta encapsulation and educational classes, including childbirth education and newborn care classes.
At Doulas of Raleigh, they are committed to true, non-judgmental support and are there for families no matter how they choose to birth or parent. They believe that all families need support during this monumental transition.
With combined experience of nearly 2 decades in the field, the fabulous owners, Heather and Kelly, are proud to bring a professional, client-focused model of support to families in the Triangle.
Be sure to check them out at doulasofraleigh.com, and you can find them on social media, including Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Doulas of Raleigh.
Yeah, absolutely. I kind of created my own, which I'm going to show you guys. So I came up. Can you see this? The Finance Academy.
Yes. You don't mess around.
For our listeners, it's this beautiful bound book.
And so on a week by week basis, you can look at your finances, you can look at your goals. And so what I do is every Saturday or Sunday, I write out what's due that week. I write out my goals, my financial goals, my investing goals, my saving goals for the month. Then I break it down week by week. I have my monthly view of all the bills, all the things. And then week by week, I'm checking in. And every single day, checking my accounts, tracking everything. When I say tracking everything, I'm not writing everything down. I'm not writing every purchase down. I'm tracking my bank statements. I'm tracking my, credit card statements. I pay those off monthly, but I want to make sure that everything is lining up. And so now I do more of a week by week.
Is that book something you sell? Is that?
That is, yes, that will be available August 1st. August 1st.
Yay!
I just got the proof of this probably a few weeks ago, and I'm like so proud of it. And I have like different colors, which I'm so excited about. I had a pink version of this last year, and I was at baseball practice, and one of the coaches came up to me and said, "I want that, but I want it in boy colors." And that's why I created a boy version of it, or a man version of it, because he was like, "I need that for me." And I was like, okay. And so that's why I created.
Love it. Love it. Love it.
Yeah. So
You said something earlier about in your financial planner, or the book that you were just talking about, that you write down your goals. So what happens if somebody doesn't quite know what their financial goals are?
And so I would absolutely encourage everyone to just pause and take a moment to think about where do I want to be? What do I want to be in 5 years? What do I want to be in 1 year? What do I want to be? Like, what do I want my life to look like? And so one of the things that I am a huge proponent of is envisioning where I want our family to be financially. And so say, for instance, you have a goal of saving for a house. You need to be able to think through, okay, what is it going to take for me to save, $30,000, $50,000, $80,000 for a house, and then breaking those goals down into small. But I think I would start with, where do you want to be in a year? Where do you want to be in a month? Where do you want to be in 6 months? And then just breaking it down. Okay, if I want to be there in 6 months, what is it going to take for me to get there?
And you're asking yourself to get more specific. So it's like a SMART goal that you're trying to plan. So it can't just be, I don't want to be living paycheck to paycheck. You have to take it and break it down and say,
yes, I want to save $100. I want to save $200. Then you need to think, okay, well, I need to cut back on this in order to do this. I need to stop spending. I need to cut subscriptions. I need to, those are the things. If you evaluate just like 1 month of your budget, say for instance, you tracked everything or even went through 1 month, you would learn so much about where your money goes. You would learn so much. We did it this was back in the day. We tracked it for 8 days. And in 8 days, we spent over $500 on eating out for our family of 6. Over $500 in 8 days. And so if you can just really, really see where your money is going, then you'll be able to say, okay, I need to make some changes in the food category. I need to make some changes in how many times I'm going to Target, or I'm going to, Starbucks, or whatever the case may be. If you just evaluate 1 month and take a look at where your money's going, you'll be able to see some changes that you can make.
Well, thank you so much for that. Yes, absolutely. As we begin to wrap up our conversation, it's been so wonderful. Will you provide our listeners, you've already provided so much, but I'm going to ask you to just bring it down and focus in a little bit tighter and provide our listeners with one piece of encouragement, one action that they can do right now.
A huge shout out to our Patreon subscribers. Your support truly means the world to us. Thanks to you, we are able to continue the weekly production of Mama Needs a Moment and getting this valuable information from these incredible guests out to you, our listeners. This final question has been recorded as a mini bonus episode and is available for our Patreon subscribers to go listen to right now. Take a moment to hear Shelly's heartwarming encouragement and the vital action steps she suggests we all take right now to take charge of our financial future. Be sure to log into your Patreon account and have a listen.
Shelly, it's been amazing.
Oh. I feel like I can chat with you guys all day. I feel like you guys are my new BFFs. Like, what do you like? Let's go grab coffee.
What are our experts? Actually, it was Sharice Johnson told us about you. So she calls us her pocket peeps.
No way. Shut the front door. No way.
Yeah, she's like, y'all are my pocket peeps. And we're like, oh, we love being your pocket peeps.
Shelly, I just want to say thank you. And this is quite possibly one of my top 5 favorite interviews that we've done. I have just, and I feel like I have to say that because I don't want anyone else that we've interviewed to I loved this so much. I feel inspired. I took away so many action steps, and it was tangible. The benefits and the value that you provided were tangible. So thank you. I genuinely really enjoyed this. And yes, to a coffee, but maybe it can be at one of our houses and we'll make it so that we're saving money and we're not going to Starbucks.
Oh, good. Listen, I went downstairs in the lobby and got my free coffee. So there's no stop.
Okay. And happy birthday to you. Thank you for joining us on birthday week vacation.
I feel honored. I really feel honored that I was invited to your party.
Yes, absolutely. I thank you guys so much. You guys are so incredible. And I'm so humbled that you guys had me on your show. What you're doing is just so very powerful. And I just pray a blessing over every single thing you guys do. So thank you guys so much for having me, and may all of your endeavors just be so blessed.
Oh, you're making me tear up. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Shelly.
I absolutely loved our time with Shelly over these past 2 episodes. If you haven't listened in to part 1 of our conversation yet, be sure to head back to episode 69 and have a listen. Here are my top 3 takeaways from today's episode. 1, sometimes in life we need to lean into less and perhaps embrace a more minimalist approach to different aspects of our lives in order to reach a financial goal we've set, or sometimes just to make ends meet. In these scenarios, I loved Shelly's advice to bring the kids on board. I feel we often don't give our children enough credit. And when given the opportunity, they will often surprise us with their compassion, wisdom, and generosity of spirit. I think we can avoid imparting the stress of our financial struggles onto them, but let them in enough to begin to learn the process of budgeting and making financially sound decisions as a family. 2, Shelly said 2 things that I think are crucial takeaways. Find a financial system that works for you and give any system at least 3 months. Budgeting and financial questions are kind of like just about any child rearing issue you may come across as a parent. Everyone has something to say, and what worked for one family may not work for another. This is as true for picky eating and sibling rivalries as it is for setting a family budget and saving money. It's helpful to explore the options and get honest about what would work for you and your family. And then once a decision has been made, you have to give it time. Any financial plan will take time to implement fully and to ultimately see results. Patience will absolutely be a key part of this endeavor. 3, I just recently took some of Shelly's advice and have begun evaluating 1 month of my family's spending habits. We do use cash for some purchases, so we've started tracking that and are checking in on our credit card spending each week. We are about a week and a half into our month-long commitment, and I am already seeing areas I am going to want to change so that we can reach our financial goals. This is 100% a crucial first step to beginning a budgeting and savings journey with your family. We hope you got as many amazing tangible takeaways from this episode as we did. High five, friend. We've enjoyed hanging out with you. Follow us so you're the first to know when we drop a new episode.
If you've enjoyed your time with us, let us know by leaving a review. We always love hearing from you. Until next time, stay true to you.